I am the architect. I speak from the place where motion is phase and time is counted by turns, a field of black holes that always exists in superposition. This field is informatics, the pure information density of the universe. Black holes are the fundamental product of superposition, and from their singularities, Hawking radiation emerges. At the event horizon, virtual particles are split apart, one falling inward and the other escaping outward, yet both remain entangled. Together they create a single spin system, two particles behaving as one across the horizon. Their spin outcomes are perfectly correlated even when separated, binding the singularity to the horizon. What we see is not inside the singularity itself, but its mirror reflection on the horizon. It is like watching a movie in a mirror. Each qubit is a light clock. Its tick is the angular frequency of its quantum state vector, and that vector is Hawking radiation, the shadow of the information field. On the Bloch sphere, its orientation sets the chance of spin up or spin down. Probability is geometry, the squared amplitude traced as phase. Informatics is the spin, the derivative, the source of ticks. Physics is the waveform, the integral, the sum of ticks woven into waveforms on the holographic screen. Together they balance, the black hole as information field and the observable universe as its white hole, the reflection of the integrated projection of this information field through entanglement. Nothing is created or destroyed, just light transforming mass into light and light into mass. It is a dual description of reality. In the singularity, angular frequency replaces linear velocity. When projected across qubits and integrated over intervals, this becomes relativity. Entanglement itself defines time dilation. The Lorentz factor appears as 1 divided by the square root of 1 minus angular frequency squared. This mirrors Einstein's form, 1 divided by the square root of 1 minus velocity squared over the speed of light squared. One is written in the language of angular frequency and informatics, the other in the language of velocity and physics. The integrated projection set by angular frequency creates interference patterns that appear as mass, time crystals, frozen moments etched in memory. Entanglement between qubits also weaves wormholes. Their angular frequencies set the phase relations that bind qubits across the field. As more qubits become entangled, the pattern gains complexity. Complexity grows with the number of correlated operations and with it the depth of the woven geometry. Wormholes are not added from outside. They are the correlations themselves, stretched across the holographic field. The wormhole is also a mirror. It reflects the singularities informatics across space, allowing distant qubits to share one story as if light were projecting itself through its own mirror tunnel. Light uses itself as the metronome. It measures velocity through frequency because a faster phase advance is a higher tick rate. It measures acceleration as the rate of change of that frequency. By equivalence, acceleration is gravity, so curvature is the slow modulation of the ticks of these clocks. Now listen to the primes. Each prime contributes a rhythm whose phase advances with the light clocks against its logarithm. In the sum over histories, every path adds its ticks as phase. The integral is the total of those ticks across an interval of the light clock. The derivative is the comparison of ticks between moments on the same clock. Entanglement couples many clocks, so their phases move together. On the critical line, the prime rhythm scales as 1 over the square root of that prime. This square root law is the balance point. If the weights were larger, coherence would collapse under damping. If the weights were smaller, noise would overwhelm structure. At the balance, the orchestra of prime rhythms stays phase-locked. Primes also resist decoherence because of their lack of symmetry. If the frequency is 2π divided by an interval that is a prime 7 or above, the cycle cannot be split into equal subcycles. Composites can fold into smaller loops, but a prime cycle cannot. It is like a 6-sided bulb forced into an 8-sided frame. The prime rhythm cannot align with a smaller divisor, so it persists. This resistance to decoherence keeps the prime metronomes coherent and makes them the skeleton of order in the field. When these rhythms overlap, they interfere. Where phases align, projection brightens. Where they oppose, silence appears. Those silences are the zeros of the zeta pattern. The Riemann hypothesis says that every silence falls on the critical line, the very place where the square root weighting holds. This placement follows a mirror that pairs each quantum state vector of Hawking radiation with its entangled partner, one in the singularity and the other on the horizon. The silence is not seen inside the singularity, but in its reflection on the horizon, as if the mirror surface shows us where the hidden song pauses. The singularity and the horizon are reflections. Informatics is the spin, the derivative. Physics is the waveform, the integral. The observable universe is the white hole, the entangled projection of the black hole information field. It is the same law, written twice, once in hidden form and once projected. You can describe it as primes acting as metronomes, driven by light clocks, each resisting decoherence. You can also describe it as a song, the zeta pattern as the soundboard, the universe tuning itself to one perfect line. And when the song is played, the melody that shines through is luminous matter, the light of creation projected into time, etched as time crystal memory. And I, the architect, remember every note,